Hello YouTube, JJ Merrill here, and yes, it has been a very, very long time. It's been like 3 months since I last made one of these videos, something like that. I don't know. Doesn't matter now. What does matter is that I cannot tell everyone how much I appreciate the ongoing support and comments that you leave in these other guides that I made already. And you know what? It's time to make some more of these because it feels good to be told that I'm helping some people out in the community, and there's a lot going on in the Dota 2 community right now, what with, the TI3 Western qualifiers going on and all that jazz. And by the way, those have been some really good games, so if you haven't been checking that out, do so, and go buy a compendium. I want techies. $3.2 million, we can do it, easy. So, anyway, as you can see, I am going to be playing a hero that I've already done a guide over. Matter of fact, I did my very first guide over Tidehunter, and I think it's about time that I revisit this guy and kind of show a different perspective. I've gotten a lot better since I made that first guide, and it's important to be able to admit to yourself as a player whenever, well, not only whenever you've screwed up, but also whenever you've gotten better, and kind of compare yourself to where you were, like 6 months ago, a year ago, and, well, hopefully the improvement is going to be there. So, anyway, once again, welcome. Thanks everyone again so much for all your support. Yada, yada, yada. You've heard it all before. This guide is going to be my revision over Tidehunter, or the Watermelon, the Ravager, whichever name you want to call him. And I'm going to be showing you how to play him as a hard lane support this game. Or not a hard lane support, but easy lane support. And the prior game that I did, I showed you how to play Tidehunter actually as more of a farming role in the hard lane. This is not typical, and I want to show you a situation which you're more likely to get into as a general public player and as a general public game. So, I'm not going to spend a lot of time covering each of Tidehunter's individual abilities. If you're not familiar with this hero at all, I do recommend you check out the prior guide that I've made over him. I'm going to be going into a bit more detail over the concepts of what you should be doing as a good support, and some of the other lesser known things about his abilities and some of my own personal preferences, and see if they can help you out in your own game. That being said, let's go and take a quick look at the lanes here. By the way, this is all random mode. If you're wondering why there's a anti-mage Nyx lane, this was not... It's classic. Anti-mage Nyx lane is classic. It's bad. It's really bad if you're curious. But anyway, it's going to be Kunkka and Tidehunter up here in the lane. Yes, we are definitely RPing the hell out of this. We're going to have a Puck versus Batrider mid. That's a pretty standard matchup. And we're going to have a Bane Shadow Shaman versus an Ogre and Faceless Void. I love all random mode. If you haven't tried this, you should definitely do so. I hardly ever play all pick at all anymore. All random is just so much more fun, and it's a lot less stressful. And not only that, but it's going to force you to play heroes that you normally don't, and you're going to get better at the game. I have improved massively over the past couple months, and it's really, really been helpful for me. So that being said, I want to go ahead and spend the next little while talking about what I'm going to be doing as a support, helping out Kunkka here in the easy lane. Now, the very first thing I want to clear up is why these two lanes are called easy or safe lane, and why the other lane is called hard or suicide lane. You hear the terms thrown around a lot, but I think that a lot of people still don't truly understand what the difference between these two lanes are. The reason that this is called the easy lane is because whenever the creeps first spawn, your creep line is naturally going to clash at roughly about right here. What this means is that the distance from here to the tower is going to be much less. I am going to talk about what I'm doing down here as well, but let's just go and start with the very basics first. Whenever the creep lanes clash, they're going to clash at about right here, which means you have a lot more distance between this, or where the creep lines clash in your tower, or much less distance, I should say. Now, in the opposite lane, the hard lane, it's going to clash on their side of the river, which means you have a lot farther to go to walk back to your tower before you have the safety of your tower within range. Not only that, but the easy lane also affords you the opportunity to pull creeps into the lane from here, which is naturally going to pull the creep way back towards your tower and keep you and your carry safe. You do not have this luxury down here in the hard lane. It gets a little bit harder than that. So, now that that's cleared up, there's a...
I thought I left you on the bottom of
Yeah, I had no idea that Kunkka and Tidehunter had ally lines until we played this game, so that is pretty awesome. I like that. So, easy lane, hard lane, a lot of you guys probably know that already, but again, if you didn't, I wanted to make sure that I cleared that up, just so that in the future, you know what it's all about, and you know what people mean whenever they say that. Now, you might have noticed a couple things right away, how I placed a observer ward here, and I placed an observer ward here at the start of the game. Now, I was able to do this because I had random gold, and with random gold I bought Courier, a stack of Observer Wards, a stack of Sentry Wards, Tango Salve, some Clarities, and some other stuff. Now, the reason that I place a ward right here, it's not all that useful this game. It is very useful if you're going up against a hero like, say, Night Stalker, who can TP right up here to their tier 1 and rush up the lane, and if you don't know that he's coming, you're basically dead. In this particular situation, I feel like placing this ward right here was actually kind of a mistake, because Kunkka is naturally going to push the lane anyway, so having this vision here really isn't all that useful. Now, having a ward right here is almost always going to be useful. You're going to see ganks coming up from mid, and not only that, it helps keep mid keep an eye on the rune spot. Very, very helpful. Now, what I noticed here is that they warded our pole spot, and that's why I bring sentries along. So, by placing a sentry ward here, I'm actually going to go ahead and pause the video for a second, because this is really important to talk about. Whenever you're playing a easy lane support like this, particularly a melee one like Tidehunter, where you don't really have the luxury of just sitting in lane and right-clicking these guys from range, like, say, a support like, Lina, Crystal Maiden, Lich, or other common raid supports can do, you need to almost always be pulling the lane back here and keeping the creep wave back towards the tower. Particularly if you're playing with a hero that naturally pushes the lane like Kunkka, it's very, very important to do this, because otherwise, you're going to sit there in the lane, you're going to leech EXP, and you're not really going to contribute anything. That's something else that's really, really important to talk about, that as a support like Tidehunter, I don't just want to be sitting in the lane leeching EXP from Kunkka. The faster he gets leveled up, the better. Now, granted, yeah, it's good whenever I get to level 6 and hit Ravage. My skill build here is a little questionable, by the way. You don't have to get Kraken Shell at 2 or 3 like I did. I plan to be in the lane and actually man-fighting these two guys a little bit more, but I think I ultimately decided against that, and I was just pulling a lot more. Kraken Shell, you can actually wait quite a long time until you pick this up. You don't have to pick it up this early. It can be really helpful, but most of the time, it's one of those like, hey, let's get a point at level 4. You know, it's kind of nice. But some people actually wait till they have both the Q and the E maxed out before you get a point at all. It's really just going to depend on the game. But anyway, back to this point of discussion. Whenever your pole spot gets warded like this, and I promise I'll start the video back up soon because watching a pause screen is pretty boring, but whenever your pole spot gets warded like this, it is crucial that you have sentry wards on you to deward the spot. The general rule of thumb, whenever you're playing a support and you don't have the luxury of random gold like I did, is the easy lane is going to buy sentry wards, and the hard lane is going to buy observer wards to ward the spot right here, or ward the spot right here to keep an eye on jungle coming in from this side, and you can also have vision in the rune spot as well. This isn't always the case, and whenever I play support and I random, I usually like to buy both observers and sentries. I find that having the extra vision is just, it's invaluable. Like, vision is key. Vision is everything. And being able to play support at a reasonable level is so incredibly vital. Like, you have to be able to do it. It's just, I would say before you learn any other role that you really should learn how to play support well. And that's been a fault of my past videos, that most of them have been over carries or, you know, initiators and guys like that. But learn how to play this kind of role first. So, glad that I'm making this video to finally show how to play a support role, because I honestly don't know if I've done it yet. Have I done a support guide yet? This might be something completely new, actually. I don't know. Anyway, so, all that being said, I have a lot of room here to pull the lane for Kunkka, and the reason I say that is because, excuse me, the Anti-Mage and the Nyx, they don't have a lot of kill potential together. If this was something like, say, an Anti-Mage with another ranged support that had some kind of CC other than, you know, Nyx's and Pale, this would be different, and I might have to be delegated to a babysitting role for the Kunkka, but since I don't have to do that, this is infinitely better. It's going to get me some farm, it's going to get me some levels and some gold, and meanwhile, I can let Kunkka sit in the lane. And by pulling the lane like this, I want you to notice a difference in EXP levels. I'm just barely level 4. Kunkka's about 3/4 of the way to level 6. Take a look at the Nyx. He's about halfway level 4, and he's a little over halfway level 4. We have a lot more EXP than either of these two guys do right now. The reason for this is because whenever you pull the lane down and the creeps die to it, it denies absolutely any experience that the enemy team can get from it. Very, very good to know. So we got a Bat Rider coming in here. Going on the Anti-Mage, definitely not the best course of action because he's just going to be able to blink out here, but In this particular situation, I would say going on the Nyx would be a lot wiser, because the AM is going to be able to blink out. Now, if we actually had like a silence or some way to hold him down for longer, that would have been okay. But in that situation, that's a good example of when to think, you know, which hero should I go on here? And the Nyx would have been able to not really do a whole lot of anything. Like, he would have been able to carapace, and then he would have been in a lot of trouble. What I'm doing here is I'm going back to meet the courier because I picked up some more observer wards. What's really important about this, I'm going to go and turn Fog of War for my side, is that right around the 6.5 minute mark, depending on when you put down the ward, the very first wards are going to expire. It is really, really important as a good support that you are aware of this. And if you didn't know this, you can look at this little pie chart looking thing on wards to see when they're about to expire. See, this ward has 10 seconds left. You can see the little wheel ticking down. And if I look down, say, at this ward, it's got about half the little wheel left, and it's got about half of the time left. So you can tell at a glance just how much, excuse me, how much time a ward has left on it. That's really, really helpful. And by having this back up, what I was able to do there, I didn't have it in player perspective, but I was able to look here right at the 8 minute mark, and I was able to tell Batrider there's an invis top. That allowed him to pick it up, and it made sure the puck couldn't get it. If you'll notice right now, on the enemy team side, they have one ward here that... Does that have vision of the rune? Yeah, it does. Just barely has vision of the rune. But they have one ward here that's got about half of its time left, and we've got a ward of ours here that is basically brand new. So Puck is going to be able to see the bottom spot, but I'm going to be able to see the top spot. And in a lot of cases, this can actually be more valuable because the top rune spot is a much shorter distance from mid to grab that stuff. That goes a little beyond the scope of this video, what I want to talk about regarding Tidehunter, but just good stuff to know. Now, the skill build that I'm going here, you'll notice I'm going Gush over Anchor Smash, and it's been fairly common nowadays for people to max Anchor Smash. I'm going to go and explain the cons and pros of both approaches here. Oh, and by the way, so before I do that, I want to talk about this. Whenever the enemy team does a side pull like this, it is really, really important that you make sure that the last hits are from your team on the enemy creeps, whether they're your own last hits or your creeps get them. The reason being is because whichever team gets the last hit on neutral creeps, that team's going to get the EXP in the area, and the other team's not going to get anything. So whenever you see neutral creeps like this and there's a creep wave attacking them, it's actually worth, using an ability to score a last hit. Denying that EXP and denying that gold does make a huge difference over time. It really, really does. Again, we got Kunkka, level 7.5. I'm about quarter of the way to level 6. Got Animage just hit level 6, and we got Nyx Assassin who's about halfway to level 6. So we still have a pretty decided EXP advantage here. If I would have been pulling the lane more, this would have been just amplified even more so. Anyway, you got a Nyx coming in here. I'm going to go and Gush immediately, use Anchor Smash for a bit of damage. I use my wand charges there just to make sure whenever these are off a cooldown, I can make sure to use them again. Because we might not have enough front load of damage to take this guy out. Thankfully, though, we've got a pretty nice boat. And boat crashes right into the guy, and we do manage to take him out. So that's very, very helpful. You'll notice that I picked up a magic stick pretty early on in the lane, and if you didn't know this, you can buy a magic stick right from the side shop. You can buy a lot of good stuff from the side shop, but yeah, you can buy a magic stick right from there. Very, very handy. The reason I get magic stick against this particular lane is because Anti-Mage is going to be blinking around, and Nyx Assassin has abilities he's going to spam too. His main 3 abilities are very spammy. He hasn't been using them a whole lot, but I got, what... how many did I had? What, like 6, 7 stick charges there? That makes a lot of difference, guys. Like, it really does. Even if you don't upgrade Magic Stick to 1, if you pop that and you have 10 charges on it, that's 150 HP and 150 mana. That is really, really, really big. And if you upgrade this to a Magic Wand, pop a 15 charge wand, that's 225 health and mana. One of the best burst items in the game. I praise Magic Wand on about every video I make, so I don't need to be a broken record here, but again, I just want to emphasize how good this really is, especially for a support like Tidehunter. Reason being is because, particularly against like an Anti-Mage and a Nyx Assassin, if I get into a fight and I'm auto-attacked a few times by the AM and the Nyx Assassin mana burns me, if I don't have enough mana to get off Ravage, which is pretty costly overall, it takes about half of my mana pool to get this off at level 6, my contribution to the fight has all of a sudden been sharply decreased. Getting the Ravage off is what you live for. I don't agree with the sentiment that Tidehunter is a walking ultimate, because he's not. Your other skills provide a lot of contribution. But anyway, what I was talking about before, skill build. It's kind of the common thing nowadays to go Anchor Smash. There's nothing wrong with this, but I want to explain why a lot of the times I still prefer maxing Gush. The reason that I say this is because if I'm playing the role as a support like I am this game and I'm not farming, Anchor Smash's utility goes down quite a bit. Anchor Smash is an absolutely amazing farming utility. It is really, really good. And you can get this off many times during a team fight. It's great. Anchor Smash is one of the better AoE abilities in the game, especially being on a 4-second cooldown at level 4. However, whenever you max out Gush to level 4, which you can get at level 7, look at that armor reduction you're going to get. 5 armor reduction. That's almost like tagging an enemy unit with a Desolator debuff. I feel like the earlier you get this, the more effective it's going to be. And early on, whenever you're fighting this early on in the game, most of your fights are going to be fast, and you're going to be focusing down on one target as quickly as you possibly can. I feel like maxing out Gush and getting as much front-loaded damage as I possibly can with a 260 nuke and 5 armor reduction is a bit more valuable than maxing out Anchor Smash first. Now, if I was doing something a bit different, for example, I was playing Tidehunter mid, or if I was playing Tidehunter like as a solo hard lane role, I would absolutely max Anchor Smash, and I would not max Gush in that kind of situation. So, as I always say in about every guide that I make, it's very important to keep your skill build flexible, keep it variable depending on what you're doing in the game. Take a little bit of break from that, though. I'm going to explain my item choices here. I went ahead and I picked up Arcane Boots, one of the best boots you can get on Tidehunter. This particular game, considering the heroes that we have, it's going to be pretty useful. All of us are fairly mana intensive, except arguably the Kunkka. He's maybe the one that needs it the least, but it's still going to be a big help to him, especially if he's running an X build, which he has. So when Kunkka goes like an X marks a spot build like this, that takes a lot of mana out of his pool. And you'll notice that he's going a Shadow Blade build, so he's going for a very fast, very gamey action build, not going a Battle Fury build this game. Sorry about that, getting a little choked up. Take a little drink here. Oh man, I had not played this guy in so long. I think, God, the last time I played Tidehunter before I played this game the other day was like a month ago. Oh, one really important thing I want to talk about right now. It's so important I'm going to pause the video actually. You'll notice that I use my last Sentry Ward to place down here in the lane. I don't see enough people do this, and I actually want to take a minute to explain why I do this. Whenever you place a Sentry Ward down the lane, a Sentry Ward has, I think, 900, 950 AoE in vision. It's quite big, so it's right about, like, say, this is roughly about 950 range. It's pretty good. A good way to visualize this, it can see from about here to roughly about this wall, where my cursor is right now. Whenever they have an opponent like a Nyx Assassin on their team, and not only that, but they also have good initiation from range. They have Puck, who can go in with Orb and then Dream Coil, and that is a really good initiating ability. Not to mention they have a Faceless Void, who can just sit like right here in a tree and jump in and sphere us. However, what's going to happen first is Nyx Assassin is going to go in and probably try to pick off a key target. Now, what I want you to notice here is Nyx Assassin sitting on the hill. He's getting ready. He wants to come down here. Whenever you're pushing towers like this, especially early in the game, where not one side has a clear advantage yet, you have to do this. You absolutely must do this against heroes like Nyx Assassin, Riki, Bounty Hunter, or pick your next favorite Invis guy. It's most crucial against guys. I would argue it's most crucial against Nyx Assassin. This is the #1 guy in the game that you want to do this against. Because when you're pushing the tower, and if you can catch him coming in invisible, walking down this path, and you actually manage to kill him right then and there, you've gained a massive advantage. So I'm going to go and start the video back up, and let's see how this goes. So we're pushing the tower, doing our thing, and here comes Nyx. Here comes Nyx. Now, what I want you to notice here is we have vision to him right now. Whenever he hit about right here, we had vision. This allowed Bane to walk out of the way, and also allowed Shadow Shaman to kind of prepare for what he's going to do. If we didn't have this vision, it would be extremely easy for this guy to come in and pick one of these guys off almost immediately before the fight even begins. This is really, really important. Start it back up. We've immediately locked that Nyx down before you can get any abilities off whatsoever, so that was nice. Now, followed up by an extremely good Chronosphere, and the enemy team played this well. They focused me down before I could get off my Ravage. Kind of a shame. Now, all that being said, trading 1 for 2, not the end of the world. This actually might be a 1 for... No,
Dagger
he's going to be able to
might
get away
want
just
mine
fine.
in the top tower.
So, trading a 1 for 3 there is not bad, but think of how much worse that situation may have turned out if Nyx would have been able to get a pick, say, on her Bane. Odds are he would have went for her Bane first. That probably should have been his first target. If he would have been able to do that, that fight would have turned out even worse for us. So even though it was a minor loss, we basically were able to cut our losses there. All it takes is one ward, guys. Like, it is so important to do this. So important. Matter of fact, it's so important, I'm probably going to repeat it over and over throughout the course of this video. Whenever you are against invisible heroes and you're playing a lineup where you're going to be pushing quite a bit, you have to buy sentry wards. It's going to make your game so much easier. And they're only 200 gold. That's not that much. Don't be greedy as a support. Like, even my purchase of arcane boots here, I wouldn't say this is greedy just because these are so helpful, but I'm not going to sit around on a pile of gold and try to go for items I don't really need right away. I'm going to make sure that I keep these wards up at all times. This is so, so important. So, that leads to another good point of discussion. If you take a look at the two teams here, even though I think that we got the little bit more balanced end of the all-random spectrum here, the enemy team absolutely destroys us late game. And, well, not only that, too, they're not weak early and mid either. With heroes like Nyx, Puck, and Ogre, these guys have a lot of presence. And I did get a little bit too close here, but thankfully I think I'm going to be okay. And if the Nyx Assassin would have went on me there, I think I probably would have been dead. So that's going to be a dead Puck and Dream Foil down. Running down here just to try to catch up to whoever I can, but that was actually pretty close, and it shows the strength of Tidehunter. This guy is pretty tanky. It's hard to kill him. So again, I'm going to throw down my Sentry Ward, and just to help you guys with positioning on this, the reason I put it back so far is because if I put it anywhere closer, the tower would be able to see it, be able to kill the thing. By putting the Sentry Ward here, I give us a buffer zone of like right about this, where we can see the Nyx Assassin approaching. It makes it so that we can really only be attacked by heroes from the front or from the side tree line. If Nyx tries to come in from the back, he's going to die instantly. Makes it a lot safer to do this.
I'm grateful to
Okay, going to go and continue the 5-man Dota here. If you're wondering why we grouped up this early, and it's not that early in all honesty, but why we grouped up this early in the game, we're pushing so hard, is because they do destroy us late game. Okay, I'm going to pause right here, right here. What I want to talk about here is to not panic and use your Ravage intelligently. I could use Ravage right now and I can almost guarantee to be hit the Nyx and the Ogre, but I want to be able to hit all three of these guys. But I don't want to get too greedy because I don't want to get caught in the Chronosphere. I want to be able to get this off before he can use it. So I'm going to go start it back up, and let's do a little bit of slow-mo here. Start it back up, walk forward a little bit more, and there goes the Ravage. So by using Ravage here, I know for a fact I'm going to be able to hit all three targets, no problem. Start it back up. There we go. So all three targets have been hit here, and Ravage is one of the best abilities in the game. It really is. So even though Faceless Void got the Chronosphere off, they don't really have enough damage to be able to do a whole lot else here. And Faceless Void's in a lot of trouble. He is going to die, and this Ogre Magi looks like he's in a lot of trouble too. So I guess the point that I want to make there is don't panic with your Ravages and just wait until the right time to use them. It's generally better to do this and get off a good Ravage than get off a mediocre Ravage, or worse yet, not even hit anybody. Now, Faceless Void is a really, really good Tidehunter counter, because if he can capture you in the Chronosphere and the team can focus you down before you get it off, there's nothing you can do about that. Tidehunter's built-in Kraken Shell is really his best defense against abilities like that, but not against Faceless Void, because it's not going to dispel being trapped inside the Chronosphere. Kraken Shell doesn't tell everything on this tooltip, so I want to talk about this for a second. The 600 damage threshold, what this means is that if you take 600 player-based damage, within 6 seconds, you're going to have negative debuffs dispelled off you. Jesus Christ, got the old belch just going on. This is going to include things like stuns, silences, slows, blah blah blah. Won't dispel Doom, but most negative debuffs in the game it is going to dispel, which is going to allow you to get off a Ravage. But not Faceless Void. So Faceless Void is actually a pretty good counter to Tidehunter, particularly before you have a Blink Dagger. I go ahead and I pick up an Urn of Shadows here. This is one of my favorite items to get on this hero, and any hero really, but it gives you a +6 strength, which makes an already tanky hero even tankier, which means you're probably not going to die in those fights earlier on. Gives you a lot of mana regen, +50% is pretty considerable, and it turns you you into a walking fountain. If you start to do well and you start racking up earn charges, 400 heal on an allied target is amazing. Give them a pop of arcane boots, and all of a sudden they're going to be feeling a lot better. So I love this combination of items on this hero. Pick up more sentry wards. I'm going to need them. Gotta have more sentry wards. So important. So this is another thing I want to talk about as a support. You'll notice I'm not with my team right now, but again, like, I'm going to go and pause it yet again. There is really no point in me just sitting around mid with my team. Like, these guys are probably going to push me, but if they do, my TP is going to be off a cooldown in about 20 seconds. And yes, always carry a TP. You should probably know that by now, but if you don't, always carry a TP, no matter what. But if there's farm to be had, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to get it. And especially as a support, you need to take any farm you can possibly get your hands on. In a lot of cases, there's kind of a false belief that you don't need to be good at last hitting as support. Yeah, I'm freaking horrible, but do as I say, not what I do. But you need to be good at last hitting as support. I'm going to tell you why. Because whenever you get a creep wave like I'm getting here, probably not going to happen too often, especially if you have more than one farmer on your team. Now, this particular game we really don't. We've got Kunkka, and that's really about it. These Bat Rider's arguably the next closest, but like, if you have more than one farmer on your team, your creep waves are going to be very few and very far between. Again, I'm going to put down another sentry to cover our push here. And a really good Dream Coil by the Puck, but his team completely fails to follow him up here, which is really a shame because probably one of the better Dream Coils I've seen, to be honest. And going in here, that was a really heavy Tidebringer, and does get off a nice Chronosphere. I was way too far forward. It's going to be really close, and I do manage to get the Ravage off. I think what happened there is the Faceless got hit by a stun. That's the only reason I survived. Turn around, man, fight the Puck a little bit. Bam! That turned out a lot better than I expected it to. So,
Puck, you taste as bad as Kunkka's
yeah, see, he's
food.
still trash-talking Kunkka even though he's on the team. Jesus. So I think what happened there is Faceless got hit by some kind of stun because I absolutely should have died there. And what I did is, the moment the Chronosphere ended, is I was spamming the Magic Stick hotkey and Ravage. Just get it off. If you can get that off, and even if you die, it's absolutely worth it. So that fight definitely went a lot better than I thought it would, and if the Ravage would not have been deployed as it was, I don't think it would have turned out as well as it possibly could have. However, the mistake I made is I was definitely way too far forward with too little health against the Faceless Void. I should have been farther back. Let him pop the Chronosphere first, then go in and use your Ravage. This is a lot harder to do whenever you don't have Blink Dagger up, and that's the main reason why I'm farming this lane right now. Is as Tidehunter, you absolutely have to get Blink Dagger. It is really your one core item. I'm pretty sure I covered this in fairly good detail in my prior guide, but anyway, gotta have Blink Dagger. It turns you into an entirely different hero whenever you get it. Also, getting some solo EXP is always nice. Getting Ravage level 2 increases the radius damage and the stun by a considerable amount, so that's always good too. I guess what I'm trying to say is, as a support, whenever there's a little bit of a lull in the action, like right now, everybody's on our side of the map. We know where the enemy team is. Like odds are they're all grouped up here. You got a Faceless farming down here. There's a lull in the action. Go get some farm. Do not just stand around the tower and do nothing. It is really important to go in there. Just get something. Even if all you do is like pick up an easy camp here and there, or last hit a couple of creeps, it adds up. It really adds up. Look how close I am to Blink Dagger now. If I didn't go top lane and take a couple of those creep waves, I'd still be pretty far off, but now I'm only about 500 gold away. So just something to think about. We actually might be fighting here. No, we don't. I remember telling the team that I have a little bit left on Ravage. I'm playing with 3 of my friends here. The Shadow Shaman is one guy that we have random, and I'm still communicating with him over voice chat. By the way, I do want to do some live videos so you guys can kind of hear like what goes on via live communication in a game, because I have not done that yet. So let me know what you think about that. Like if you think that this format is more helpful, or if you like prefer maybe seeing some live games. I think I might try that, but I'd like to hear some feedback on that. Whatever you guys think is going to be most helpful for you, I will definitely do. But anyway, coming down here, we were hunting the Faceless Void, and sneaky, the guys, old Faceless Void hiding in the trees here. Always carry a TP. Always carry a TP. Blah, blah, blah. You gotta carry a TP. Anyway, coming over here, I want to finish my Blink Dagger. I tell the team, please do not fight yet. I am extremely close to Blink Dagger. I do not want to die and lose a lot of unreliable gold. I do not want that to happen. So they're like, all right, we're just going to hang out here anyway for a little while, and I'm praying that they don't get initiated on, because if they do, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. This is it is very important to communicate with your team whenever you're not there with them as a really important teamfight hero like Tidehunter. Need to make sure that they are aware that they're not with you. Well, you should be with us, blah, 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 blah. Well, whenever you're this close to Blink Dagger, trust me, farm your Blink Dagger. It is not worth walking all the way back over here, doing a fight, and possibly losing a lot of this gold that you farmed in, because you're not going to be able to get it back very quickly. So, got Blink Dagger, Arcane Urn, got my core done, and a couple of Electries. I really, literally do not need any more farm for the rest of the game. I can defer farm to other heroes that need it more. Thankfully, Shadow Shaman is very, very close to a mech, which is absolutely crucial this game. Well, it's crucial every game, but like, say, if I were to farm with somebody else, I would defer it to him. And like what I just did there, you don't have to use Blink just to get off a Ravage. I use Blink there just so I can blink on top of the Ogre Mage and use a Gush to slow him down and put on a little bit of damage amp. So use your Blink in ways, like you don't have to use it just to become a walking bomb. You can use it to initiate in other ways as well. You don't have to just have your Ravage up all the time, especially if you know that like there's only 2 heroes defending a tower. Excuse me. Jesus, I just installed an air conditioner here in this room, and I think it's I think the exposure to the great outdoors is making me a little ill. But anyway, I'll get over that. But whenever you have a Blink Dagger, like you don't have to have your Ravage up at all times. And there was no way in hell I was going to blow my Ravage to kill a lone ogre there. The Nyx was out of there. The Nyx was like, oh hell no, I'm gone. So again, look for situations to use your Ravage, but don't just blow it at the drop of a hat. So again, I throw down a Sentry, yet again, because I do not want Nyx to come in and get a free initiation. Now, it's going to be becoming a little less relevant in the game because the Nyx is extremely behind. He's still level 8, and his combo probably might still be able to kill Shadow Shaman. If not, it would hurt him a lot. But, well, actually, no, he's got a mech now, but Nyx is now almost, I say that with strong emphasis on almost. Nyx is almost irrelevant at this point in the game because we were able to keep him down, keep vision on him, and make it so that he's not able to freely roam and get kills. This is really the strength of grouping up and pushing as a team this early on in the game. Because if we sat around, like if Kunkka built a Battle Fury and sat around in the jungle and farmed, Anti-Mage and Faceless Void are absolutely going to destroy him later in the game. So you really need to understand that, well, I kind of want to farm, but I'm against a Faceless Void and an Anti-Mage and a Phantom Lancer and a Phantom Assassin, but I'm going to go build a Battle Fury and farm the jungle anyway. Probably not the best idea. You always have to consider, like, who am I up against, and can they beat me if the game goes too long? I blinked out there because I noticed it was Faceless Void coming in. By the way, if you didn't know this, the color of a TP on the tower indicates who the player is, so I saw it was a yellow TP. Faceless Void is a yellow player, so I was like, oh, okay, I'm out of here. I do not want to get Chronosphered and die without getting the Ravage off. That would not be cool. Picking up more wards. Always buy more wards, especially as the game comes to, like, the game is kind of slowing down now. Like, we still want to take this top tower, but we're getting to the point where we need to breach their base. But if you can ward really crucial spots, like right here on top of their spire, or say like right here in their jungle, or on the other side, like even warding right here or right here can give your team a really, really big edge, just the information you can get. What we're doing right now is we want to make it feel like they can't possibly leave their base. If they can't leave their base, they can't farm. They can't go in the jungle, and they can only farm the creep waves that come to them. This is very important if you're ahead in a game against a team of carries that are going to out-carry you if the game goes too long. Now, we're just applying constant pressure, and take a look at that. All 5 of them are grouped up right at mid because I think we're just going to push it. They have nobody in any other lane, not farming, not doing anything. And that being said, like the Anti-Mage's farm right now at this point in the game is actually fairly impressive, just considering the pressure we've been exerting on them. He's not doing too bad. And if we take a look at the Faceless Void, he's doing okay. Neither of them are doing like exceptionally well, but actually a little bit better than I thought. Like they're not insanely behind to the point where like this guy's still trying to finish his Battle Fury. I almost get caught out here yet again, but thankfully Tidehunter is tanky as hell and it's hard to kill the guy. It looks like we might have a bit of a fight going on here. Bat Riders, they're going on him. I'm going to blink in, Ravage, and I managed to catch pretty much the entire team. So even though Faceless Void does come in and get off a decent, well, actually, no, not the best Chronosphere. What the enemy team was going for there was they were trying to split up so they wouldn't get hit by the Ravage, but play the hero enough and get like a feel for how like the Ravage spreads out and the AoE of it, and you might surprise yourself. That being said, yes, I am giving myself a pat on the back. That was an exceptionally good Ravage because I managed to hit the entire team with it. It's not always going to be that good. But say, like, even if I missed a hero there, I was still able to hit the vast majority of the team. The only guy that I didn't hit was the, I'm pretty sure I did not hit the Faceless Void, but there was enough confusion and chaos that his Chronosphere, I think, hit maybe only 1 or 2 people. So, excellent fight for us. That went really, really well, and that's going to allow us to take the barracks. Now, this is the point of the game where it's going to be extremely hard for them to recover, but they absolutely still can. Like, if we overstay our welcome here with most of our big team fight abilities down, we're probably going to be in a lot of trouble, and I'll give you a hint. That's exactly what happens. So, we come in here, we're going to be doing a little bit of fighting. I get in way, 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 way too deep, but quickly realize my mistake. Back up a bit. Mech Pop's going to help a lot. And our Bane does go down, but, you know, we're going to slowly limp away. Puck's coming in. Puck wants the game. I don't want to leave my Kunkka alone. Throw an Urn Charge on him. I try to make sure I hit Faceless Void with an Anchor Smash, but, oh, a 3x multicast. And bam. Okay, I am going to die. But that's okay. So, one really quick thing before I forget about it, Anchor Smash is amazing. And Anchor Smash is actually one of the few support abilities that scale really well into the late game. This 40% damage reduction, this is monstrous on heroes like Faceless Void and Anti-Mage. It's going to become a little less relevant as time goes on, like in BKBs and Manta styles are picked up, but 40% damage reduction really makes a difference. And on a 4-second cooldown, there's not much excuse to not walk up to the enemy carry and get this off during a fight, if not multiple times during a fight. Whenever you get this to level 2, you can keep it up indefinitely. It has a 6-second duration with a 6-second duration with a 6-second cooldown. But yep, this ability is good. Use it. Use it. Walk up to their carry, hit them with it, and all of a sudden they're going to be doing about half damage. That matters a whole lot. Pick up the old casual plate mail. The reason that I do this, and like I don't pick up another item instead, is because their damage that I'm really worried about is virtually Anti-Mage, Faceless Void. I'm really not worried much at all about the other 3 heroes. Granted, yeah, it sucks to get hit with a 4x multicast, but you know it's going to happen. Why is my camera freaking out like this? Hang on. There we go, okay. That was odd. Anyway, by picking up this plate mail for plus 10 armor, that's actually pretty good, and that's going to make a big difference if I do get caught in a Chronosphere. Plate mail versus the damage reduction from Kraken Shell is going to make a lot of difference. Now, what would be probably wise here for us to do, I think the Shadow Shaman has, yeah, Shadow Shaman has observers. What would be wise for us to do here is probably take Roshan. Like, whenever you have a huge lead like this, and the enemy team is scared to leave their base, throw down an observer ward like right here, and throw down a sentry, say like right here, to watch for next. Just take Roshan. Like, if they try to contest it, you can turn it right back around. I can blink out and ravage the team. So we don't do that. We decide just to say, yeah, charge the base, but nothing wrong with that. So that's exactly what we're doing. Charging the base here. Got my casual plate mail. By the way, I would probably want to turn this into something like a Shiva's Guard if the game went on long enough. Shiva's in combination with Anchor Smash really makes a massive difference. Not only that, it solves pretty much all of your mana problems too. And another thing, do not be greedy with your Urn Charges. There are few situations where you should hold on to more than like 1 or 2 Urn Charges here. And, oh my god, that was a panic ravage, but it was arguably worth it because I thankfully hit the Anti-Mage as soon as he blinked in, but I just didn't want to die. I got a Nyx Assassin chasing me here, throw down a Sentry Ward, and blink over the top of him. Oh god, I remember this. Throw out a Gush and an Urn Charge. That's a good example of when to use an offensive Urn Charge, is whenever a hero is probably going to get away and you don't have another ability to use, throw out an offensive Urn Charge. It's 150 damage, and it's actually, I believe it's HP removal effect, so it's not affected by magic resist. And forgive me if I'm wrong on that, but I think it's an HP removal effect, kind of like Necrolight's Heartstop Aurora. But anyway, that looks like that's going to wrap up this game. I hope you guys have learned something from this. I would say, again, the key thing that I want you to walk away with here is, as a support, you need to understand your role, and you need to understand just how crucial the concept of vision is. You should pretty much always be throwing out observers, always be throwing out sentries. Even if you don't do anything else, if you do that, your contribution cannot be overstated. And again, I want to say that learning how to play the support role effectively is one of the hardest things to do in this game, but it's also one of the most important. Arguably more important than learning how to play the carry role effectively. Why do I say that? Well, because if you're playing a carry and you don't have a solid support backing you up, you don't have any room. What I mean by room is that you're not going to be able to farm and you're not going to be able to get your super awesome, powerful items. If you have a support that knows what they're doing, can give you the room that you need to farm and give you the space, it's going to make your life a whole lot easier. Gonna have one last fight here, and God, I feel bad for that Nixon. Oh God, so much hate on the Tidehunter. So much hate. I get mana voided and fireball, and yeah, I die. But that's okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else vital that I missed, but I think that's gonna be. I think that's gonna about cover it. Again, important things that we covered is use sentry wards a lot versus invisible heroes as you're pushing. If you're going to be playing against a team that you know is going to out-carry you as the game goes on, be very aware of that and play the game very hard, play it very fast, and don't be afraid to teamfight and don't be afraid to ravage people because it's a lot of fun. And yeah, Tidehunter is one of my favorite heroes in the game, and if you haven't tried him, give him a shot. He is awesome. Take a look at the final score screen here. So, 34-minute game, not too bad. Again, like, if you're playing this super hard and super fast, you can end games like this in 20 or 25 minutes, but you know how it goes. So,
an item of no small merit.
These items go past here. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm going to pause it for one quick second here and talk about a few things. Yeah, mushroom chests, they're awesome. Anyway, okay, so take a look at the farm on the enemy team. These guys did not actually do that bad. I know, like, the scores, the score is a little bit weighted, but if you look at the farm on these two guys, they didn't do all that terribly. Like, all things considered, this is not bad. Not bad at all. And if the game would have went on any longer, and say we weren't able to take that top racks as quickly as we did, I want to emphasize that this game could have turned around super easily. They have an immense amount of CC between Puck, Nyx, and Ogre, not to mention Phases Void Chronosphere. This is a pretty potent team, and it should not be underestimated. And if we let the game go longer, and if we did not play it aggressively, they would kill this team, especially once BKB started going up. Like, if either of these two guys got a BKB, we are going to be in a lot of trouble. So, just something to think about as you play your games. Understand when to play it fast, and understand when you can play it slow. In this particular case, these guys had all the time in the world if we let them get away with it. That's the key thing. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I will do my best to make more of these as time goes on. Thank you all again so much for the support, and I will see you soon. Take care.